Hello everyone, and welcome to another Company Heroes 2 replay cast. My name is ATR, and today we're going to have ourselves a 1v1 in Crossing in the Woods. Our heroes today are going to be Captain Sprice, Captain S. Price, playing as the US forces in the blue, the USF. And his opponent is going to be PanzerGrenadierAngreifen, the angriest of Fens, playing as the red Austere or Wehrmacht faction. Now, while the game gets underway, we'll talk about our players. We have Mr. Angreifen, who is, at the time of casting this, currently ranked number 3 for the Austere Wehrmacht faction. So, top 3 right here. Number 3 player for the German faction, I suppose you could say. And Captain Price, not falling too far behind, but no number 3. Captain Sprice is currently ranked at number 16 for his U.S. Forces play. So, pretty goddamn good players right here, so it should be a hell of a match. Now, right off the bat, you can see that Captain Sprice has gone for his Doctrine, and that is the Airbone company. So considering that he has selected it at this point, I believe he would have some type of build in order, so I'm going to keep extra close attention, or pay extra close attention, or pay attention to it. I don't know. Anyways, I'm going to take note of what he's doing and maybe see if I can copy his build if it turns out any good. So anyways, while the game gets underway, I do apologize for the lack of videos. I have been away and also doing some changes, getting a better internet, trying out some different programs. So this may actually look different than my previous cast. Hopefully it doesn't look bad, but I don't know what the end result is going to be. But yeah. So anyways, right-hand side, we see Pios, or, well, Pioneer squads and rear echelon squad engaging over on the right-hand side. Fuel. Interestingly enough, we see Captain Sprice popping his volley, which is a very dangerous thing to do with rear echelons nowadays, but he does it incredibly well. He does it against the Pioneer squad at extreme range. You can see them, they activated while the Pios were around here, so by the time they closed the distance, the rear echelon squad managed to get the suppression effect going off on the Pioneer squad, forcing them to actually crawl their way into the house, allowing the rear echelon squad to actually capture the point. They will eventually lose it, however, but that does delay Mr. Angreifen's efforts to capture the point and forces him to, take a little bit longer. Rifle squad on the left-hand side for Captain Sprice, trying to hold the line, setting itself up in some some heavy cover against the Grenadiers. However, it is on a 3-on-1 engagement. There is nobody on that side of the map to help them out, so the rifles will lose the engagement regardless of their superior cover. They will, however, try to stall the game for a little bit. They do end up retreating with 3 men still left. They want to make sure that on the retreat they'll be able to stay alive, and on the right-hand side, the fuel point has been lost. We also see Angreifen laying down some S minefields. Very nice. There was a time when we saw S minefields being utilized very aggressively and very frequently. It kind of dropped out after a while, but it is nice to see them back in play. They haven't actually been changed to not be, effective. A lot of people complain about those little signs that come up, but in the heat of battle, a lot of players, you just usually grab your squad selected, you right-click over on the mini-map, and not even pay attention to what's in the way, so they still end up hitting the mines. Left-hand side, we have an MG42 on the field for Angreifen. He managed to defend his point. Well, actually, no, it still got capped by Captain Sprice, but he managed to fend off the squad and force it to retreat. Build order-wise, we have 3 Grens and an MG for Angreifen. Nothing additional just yet. For Mr. Sprice, we have the Lieutenant already on the field, so he's gonna go, or he went. 3 rifles, a Lieutenant, but he got a second rear echelon squad, which is an interesting choice. Let's see how well it pans out. I'm assuming he's probably gonna be building some type of vehicle, but who knows, we'll see. Grand Squad in the center, not having an easy time, forced to retreat. We have 2 rear echelons and a rifle squad engaging it. Pio squad coming in to support. 1 rear echelon squad retreats as it did get brought down to very low amounts of health, but we still have 2 more squads in the center engaging. MG42 sets itself up in the center, not in range to capture the victory point, but in range to support the engagement. However, the rear echelons and rifles move themselves out of the way without getting suppressed, forcing the retreat of the Grens and the Pios. So, for the meantime, we see that Captain Sprice is aggressively capturing territory. He is pretty much going to be capturing 2/3 of the map right now. We see the MG42 moving over to the right-hand side, setting itself up in some heavy cover. Rear echelon squad trying to close the distance, manages to get itself past the arc of fire of that MG42, forcing it to displace, get itself into a different position. MG42 packs up, gets itself inside the house. That house is going to be pretty much a impenetrable fortress for it right now, as a rear echelon squad doesn't really have much of a response to that. It'll move itself a little bit further back, probably try to get itself out of the arc of fire, and keep its distance to stay on the map. Double Grand Squad pushing forward. The rear echelon squads are getting chased down. They are actually in a very precarious position right there. They need to retreat. There they go. They do. Oh, that is a very effective S minefield right there for Angreifen. Set up in the retreat path pretty much. We now have a utility car on the field for CaptainSPrice. So, like I said, I anticipated some type of vehicle play. He did lose one of his rear echelon squads, which reduces the amount of repair that car can get. So it's gonna, probably be forced to use the crew. But I mean, that is one of the strongest points of the U.S. forces, that their crew can just simply pop out and repair their own tanks. Rifle squad caught between a I don't know. It's fucked. That's what I'm trying to say. Grand squad down south catches it and executed. Doesn't matter what it was caught between. It's still gonna die regardless. MG42 getting some nice shots there on the utility car. Utility car managing to just move right in front of it, get some shots off, and clear out the MG pretty much. Scout car now on the field for Angreifen. Tier 2 gone down. The utility car is in a bit of a spot right here. If the scout car pops its autocannon, it is dead. Yeah, there goes the autocannon, and the utility car is gone for. The crew could actually pop out. There it goes. Crew pops out. It's going to be able to get some shots off with its bazooka. It actually ends up hitting the own car, so the scout car didn't take too much damage there, it didn't look like. But another bazooka shot goes off, so a 1-for-1 trade, but at least CaptainSPrice manages to keep his crew, which comes equipped with a bazooka, so that helps him out in the long run against the vehicle. But nice decision here by both players. Minesweepers equipped on the rear echelon squad, helping them clear out those S minefields. We see the lieutenant aggressively pushing on the right-hand side with its bar and Thompson submachine gun. You can see that the lieutenant there at close range, he has a Tommy gun, and then the other guy with the bar. So just simply having that gives them a lot of firepower as opposed to a default rifle squad. Rifles on the left, not having a good time. They're engaging against two Grand Squads in cover, forced to retreat down to 2 men. But again, they're going to be fine. We see Angreifen rebuilding a scout car, as we see that Sprice is getting himself a ambulance. Ambulance, again, one of those key units, I believe, at least in my opinion, from the U.S. forces. Gives them a lot of power. I mean, the ability to heal on the field and reinforce. Yeah, halfbacks can do that a lot more superiorly, and sorry for that. I don't know why it stuttered so long there, but maybe it's due time that I do a fresh install of Windows on my computer. I may have a lot of shit already there. I don't know. It's not too bad, so hopefully it just doesn't get worse. Anyway, scout car on the right-hand side quickly pushes the rear echelon squad away. The crew from the utility car got pinned down by the MG42, so they were not able to help against that engagement. They may have been able to do a lot of damage to the scout car, as it is, well, light, considering. It is I guess you could say it's the 222 now, considering it's upgraded, but yeah. So, what's going on now? Not much getting produced by either player. We still see no Doctrine selection for Angreifen. The Doctrine hasn't really come into play for Sprice, but again, I mean, I suppose it was part of his master plan, right? I mean, Pathfinders aren't really gonna do too much for you in the early game. I mean, yeah, they can provide a decent amount of support fire at range, but they're not overwhelmingly awesome. The 50 cal machine gun, you don't really need to use it, as he went for tier 1, so he could call in a 50 cal machine gun by himself if he wanted to. Just build it. It's actually cheaper to build it. And the paratroopers, I suppose, would maybe be a choice. Getting himself some LMGs on the field, a lot of a better choice of anti-infantry, but well, we'll see. So rifles over on the left-hand side, getting harassed here pretty aggressively by the scout car. One of the rifles gets a little bit split up from the rest. Forced to retreat, they do not manage to decap the point. Far right-hand side, we have another S minefield on the field. Rear echelon squad once again produced. this rear echelon squad is not equipped with a minesweeper, so oh my god, yeah, I think I'm probably gonna have to do a fresh install of Windows pretty soon, because yeah, I mean it's starting to stutter a little bit more frequently than it should. Yeah, they don't have sweepers, so the S minefield is a threat there, but Sprice intelligently keeps himself at the very edge of the point and now equips the sweepers, and there he goes. Angreifen pushing heavily through the center, MG42 and rifle squads, not rifles, and grenadiers, supported by the scout car. Utility crew, or yeah, vehicle crew from the utility car. Capturing the munitions point, not managing to get a shot off with their bazooka at the scout car as they are forced to retreat rather quickly. With the Grens barreling down on top of them and the scout car, they were in a very precarious situation, but well, with the ambulance nearby, he may be able to just heal them up and get them back in working order. Right-hand side, Grens pushing forward. We see the rear echelon squad retreating back to the base. Right-hand side, rifle squad getting caught way out of position here by both the everything pretty much. The scout car just nailing them with its autocannon and MG. They do end up retreating. It's a three-man squad. It does have to run the gauntlet through two Gren squads and the scout car trying to chase them down. Can the rifle squad make it out of there alive? It doesn't look very likely. They're still getting chased down. The scout car is right on top of them, down to one man. One man is all that is left. There is no friendly units moving in this direction to try to intercept the scout car, so this rifle squad will end up dying. We see the Sherman tank now on the field coming at the very last second, but it was 1 second too late as the rifle squad falls to the scout car, but he manages to exact vengeance upon the German forces, and the Sherman is now on point. Explosive rounds getting equipped on the Sherman. Going to be trying to get some infantry kills with that. We do have a pack gun on the field for Angreifen, so that Sherman needs to be a little bit careful. It can take some shots, but if it goes a little bit too aggressively, it does risk getting itself killed. As far as mines go, it does not look like there's any Teller mines at any point just yet. And we see Angreifen selecting his doctrine now and going for the Mechanized Assault Doctrine, with which he calls himself a Stuggy. The Stuggy is an interesting choice. I mean, the Stuggy will help. That is, I mean, that's definite. It'll help against the Sherman, but it is not a it is not the Stug, the Stug G or whatever you call it. So it's gonna have a tough time. I mean, it is gonna help, and as you can see, it does do a decent amount of damage, but on a one-on-one, it's gonna lose. So it needs to be supported, needs to be kept, you know, at bay, and have the ever-present threat of Grenadiers throwing a Faust at the Sherman, so that it could potentially clear them out. Sherman still utilizing its armor-piercing rounds, not managing to get too much damage in there on that MG. Does force one away. We do see paratroopers now on the field for CaptainSPrice, just calling him in to replace his lost troops. And obviously, oh, nice! We see Thompson submachine guns getting equipped on those paratroopers for CaptainSPrice. That is a first. Let's see how that pans out. Sherman tank, oh, does not manage to make it out of range. Gets sniped right at the edge by the AT gun, the pack gun, and down it goes. A big loss there for CaptainSPrice. AT gun does get decrewed. The paratroopers, well, I mean, they managed to get the job done, but the AT gun is right there in front of the base of Mr. Angreifen, so he's going to recover that with the Grens rather quickly, and not, you know, he doesn't lose too much. It only loses, I suppose, a little bit of experience. Paratroopers going to hide themselves inside the house, it looks like. Another paratrooper squad getting called in out in the clearing up at the top, just to make sure that it doesn't lose any. Oh, that was an awesome grenade right there. Eliminates the entire squad. But what was that? Was that a Grenadier squad? It looks like it may have been a Grenadier. Yeah, that is definitely a Grenadier squad. Wow, that was an amazing grenade. They were actually retreating, it looked like, and they all ran right on top of the grenade. Down they go. Nice pickup there for CaptainSPrice. Left-hand side, we see some rifles pushing with their lieutenant. Far left-hand side, we see a pilot squad going for the fuel point. And far right-hand side, the paratrooper squad is also capturing the fuel point. And yeah, I mean, CaptainSPrice going for those Tommy guns. That is very nice. I mean, I personally like them, but I understand why the LMGs are preferred most of the time. But yeah, I mean, those SMGs, just get them up close and in the face of your enemy, and They're just gonna rinse. Rear echelon squad getting pinned down by the MG, forced to retreat. They do lose one of their men, but they're fine otherwise. Far left-hand side, the fuel point has been cleared and is getting recovered by the rifles, and the lieutenant is going to capture that point on the left-hand side. The double pack gun on the field, just barraging the lieutenant squad, kiting them a little bit, staying at range, managing to keep it safe. The lieutenant does have the ability to throw a smoke screen to block line of sight. And the rifles at Veterancy 1 do have their anti-tank rifle grenades, so it could close the distance. But the lieutenant ends up retreating. I mean, it doesn't want to die. It is a very likely, very big possibility, I should say, with the Stuggy, because the Stuggy is just a bastard when it comes to killing infantry. It's actually really good. Pack guns continue to push forward. Not entirely sure why. I mean, they're just exposing themselves to the rifles. But the rifles are in the line of sight of the Stuggy, so they do need to end up retreating. Like I said, it is incredibly good. Paratroopers on the right-hand side with their SMGs getting right on top of those troops, forcing them to retreat. I mean, you can see the effect of the shock. They also unlock this ability, which I haven't seen used, and personally haven't used a lot. I also don't play a lot, but the tactical assault, it says by steadying their weapons and focusing their fire, paratroopers attack more effectively, but are more vulnerable to enemy attacks. So, I don't exactly know when you would use it, because, I mean, what I understand from that is they do more damage, but they take more damage. So, I mean, maybe, I guess, you want to use it if you want to clear weapon teams, like if you get the flank on an MG or an AT gun, and you want to clear them out very quickly, you just pop that. Because if you're, like, going on a head-on assault against a Gren squad, popping that only seems to me like it's going to do you more harm than good, but maybe I'm wrong. Jackson Tank Destroyer on the field for CaptainSPrice, so I mean, he does obviously know about the Stuggy, so he wants to maybe be able to take care of that. Again, the Stuggy is not great against tanks. It will kill a Jackson if you let it, but I mean, the Jackson does incredible damage against tanks, and the Stuggy is pretty lightly armored, so if Angreifen doesn't move it from here, it's actually going to lose it right now. We see the Jackson barreling down on top of it. A shot flies, but it misses completely. It impacts itself against one of the tank traps, but the Jackson is now right on top of that Stuggy. Shot flies. Oh, double shots from the pack guns on the Jackson Tank Destroyer. If it hadn't missed that first shot, it would have had that Stuggy for dinner, but I mean, you can see right there. Look at the effect of just one shot from the Jackson down to about 25% health on that Stuggy. It wouldn't have been able to support another shot. Lieutenant losing itself to the battlefield at some point. Maybe around here, it looks like. How that happened, I don't know, but we do have a Major now on the field for CaptainSPrice. The Major, I have recently learned, even though it is obvious and I should have known it before, that once you get Veterancy 3, it gains an awesome ability. It both increases the movement speed of the squad, so it allows you to utilize it to cap. But more importantly, it locks down a territory. And that actually includes victory points. So you set them up as a retreat point, locking down a territory, and also having your troops retreat there, so you can secure territory very easily. And especially, I mean, big territories, like for example this one, you can be like anywhere, and you know, like even over here, and it's still locking down that territory. So it's something that I feel is pretty awesome and very rarely used, but well, we'll see. Anyways, paratroopers and rifles pushing hard to the left-hand side. We still have those paras with their SMGs. The Panzergrenadiers are on the field for Angreifen, but the paratroopers keep them at bay. I mean, they can pretty much go to toe-to-toe in that situation. Jackson Tank Destroyer utilizing its prioritized target or prioritized vehicle to make sure that nothing distracts it from its primary goal. The vehicle crew also seem to have died. I mean, the Jackson does have a Veterancy 3 crew, but I'm pretty sure it's its own crew because it has done some damage, but, well. Stuggy still being quite a nuisance. It actually has 19 kills to its name. Veterancy 2 has been acquired, which it gives him those armored skirts, and improves the rate of fire, so it just makes it a beast to deal with. We also have the pack guns moving behind it. Those two pack guns making it very difficult. This is where the paratroopers could shine if they manage to get a flank on those pack guns and they pop their tactical assault. They may be able to clear them out very quickly. Jackson Tank Destroyer puts itself on the field, getting some shots off at a distance. It actually ends up shooting a Pile squad in front of it, which is interesting. I don't think it targeted it. I think it just shot at the Stuggy and, well, the guy was in the way. Pack guns getting some shots at a distance at the paratroopers. The Jackson again keeps its distance because of those pack guns. And we see a big force here of Piles and Grens pushing forward. A squad was wiped out, probably a rear echelon squad at some point. And we see the paratroopers all the way back at base, forced to retreat as they are being quite manhandled. I mean, like I said, it is understandable why people favor the LMGs, because with the LMGs you can actually keep them at range and do a lot of damage at range. But yeah, I mean, I just wish that the Thompson submachine gun package would just be more awesome, because it gives them 4. I mean, the squad is what, 5, I believe. I mean, in my opinion, probably should like give them everything. Or like I said before, I would probably like it if they instead of putting the Thompson submachine guns in there, they give them the option for like recoilless rifles, like the original VCO paratroopers. That would be nice. Recoilless rifles were pretty awesome. Anyways, Major moving over to the right-hand side. The MG42 reminds him that, you know, he can't really just do that. We do have the Tiger now on the field for Angreifen. Keep in mind that CaptainSPrice does have the ability to call in the rocket strafe, and he does have enough munitions for one of those just yet, but it's going to be tough. Rear echelon squad going to be lost here. There's 2 LMGs shooting at it. Is it going to make it? No, there it goes. Yeah, that's too much, I think. Major continues to push forward with the support of the paratroopers. The paratroopers do manage to get the flank right on top of that that MG42. MG42 losing a lot of members there in that engagement. We see the Stuggy and the pack guns pushing forward. Grents as well. Major not having too much luck in there in the engagement. The Tiger pushing away the paratrooper squad, and we see the rocket strafe getting called right on top of this. However, the Jackson Tank Destroyer is in a lot of trouble as it is inside the base, and it's being pretty much besieged right now. We see the 2 pack guns and the Stuggy right outside the base of Mr. CaptainSPrice. The ambulance will be falling rather soon to the Stuggy. Rocket strafe getting called right on top of everything. Does a little bit of splash damage to the troops, but, well, 1 pack gun goes down. The ambulance gets abandoned, so that actually means it could be recovered. 2nd pack gun goes down, and the Tiger is still on the field. The Jackson Tank Destroyer is also still on the field. We see the Jackson moving back. Strafing run going down. The Stuggy goes down, and the rocket strafe barrage. Damn it! Stop. There you go. I don't know what the hell's going on. Yeah, like I said, I'm probably not gonna be able to get more games out this week. I'm gonna try and just fix my computer, make sure everything is working, and then I'll start recording again. So yeah, probably no video until next week. So sorry about that, guys. So anyways, Tiger does end up going down. The Jackson Destroyer is still on the field, so a very aggressive push by Angreifen didn't actually turn out in his favor, not completely. He has pretty much lost everything now. He only has a Gren squad on the field that is retreating. Yeah, there it is, an MG, a 2nd Gren squad, and a Pile squad on the field. Victory points are 284 for Sprice and 310 for Mr. Angreifen, but yeah, I mean, Sprice is in a remarkable position. He still has the Jackson getting repaired right now by its crew. He calls himself a howitzer tank, of all things. I mean, that howitzer is going to be amazing against the infantry. Still has a paratrooper left on the field, and it's a veteran C3. What do they get? Let's see. Veteran C1 ensures the squad is always be ready. Ability to recharge quicker as a result. Okay. Improves grenade range, weapon accuracy, and enables the squad to heal while out of combat. So that's awesome too. And squad survivability and weapon control while under fire. So yeah, I mean, it just makes it tougher to take down. Does run itself into the fire of the MG42, so it retreats. You know, they're not Superman, but they're still great. Howitzer tank going to be throwing a barrage, and that is a standard barrage at where it was. MG42 is out of the way. Medics being utilized on the field to capture territory. I mean, CaptainSPrice wants to employ all available resources to try and recover territory. His major is over on the far right-hand side, capturing territory as well. So nobody gets to just sit on their ass except the rifle squad, because, you know, I mean, they deserve it. Both pack guns have been lost and captured by CaptainSPrice. So yeah, I mean, Angreifen just suffered incredible losses in that engagement. Those two pack guns will pretty much make it so that the Tiger that comes up again is not really going to be able to do too much. He should probably repair those weapons a little bit. I mean, they're fine. I mean, this one is at about 75%, so it's not too big of a deal. But, you know, if you can, I mean, you even have the crew right there. You could just repair the weapon, make sure it's tippy-top shape, and then use it in the battlefield. Rear echelon in the center, getting engaged by Pios. That engagement will go on for a bit. Rifles, not rifles, but Grenadiers and Paratrooper squad engaging over on the right-hand side. The Paratrooper squad manages to decap the point. They're trying to close the distance, and again, like I said, with their SMGs, they'll do a lot of damage up close, which is what they're doing right now, but the distance closing is where they take a lot of damage. Oh, this Grand Squad actually picked up the bazooka from the vehicle crew, but it ends up getting eliminated to those Thompson submachine guns. Major now going to be capturing the victory point, center point. The rifle squad is pushing forward. And on the far left-hand side, we do have two pack guns, making sure that no vehicles can get into the engagement, while we have an MG and the Grin trying to lock down the left-hand side. Rifle squad is going to capture that point, so the points bled down to 194 points for CaptainSPrice, but he should be in okay shape. Paratrooper squad getting called in onto the field. One of them looks like it may actually die. No, almost landed there, but he's fine. And I'm assuming they're probably going to be equipped with Thompson submachine guns as well. Right-hand side, Major still being utilized to cap. At Veterancy 2, it increases the number of shells dropped during the rapid barrage, and adds the fake barrage ability. Improves the survivability. Increases duration of recon flights. So yeah, I mean, the Major does have a lot of useful abilities, which complement any commander, so yeah. Left-hand side, MG42 catches the paratroopers, forces them to retreat. Rifles just holding in the center. We do have the howitzer tank getting some shots off at a distance at that MG42. The pack guns move up. The howitzer tank needs to get itself out of the way. I think it's going to die right here. It's still in the engagement, and the pack guns are moving on the left-hand side unnoticed. They get themselves in range. Shot flies. Oh, first shot missed. Second shot missed. Wow, the howitzer tank is going to make it out of there alive. Shot hits it as it moves right off the edge of the range. But two shots missing to start with. That just keeps them alive. Unit lost. That is... Oh, no. The Major died on the right-hand side. That is an unfortunate circumstance there for Sprice. I think he could have kept that alive and utilized it. But one thing that I noticed is... remember that the Major, the Lieutenant, and the Captain, they have a fuel cost, right? For example, the Captain, it has an 80 fuel cost to get. If you lose them, you can buy them again, but they don't cost any fuel. That is also something to keep in mind. You don't have to reinvest the fuel. You just have to invest the manpower. For example, here it's 160 manpower to get himself another Major. So, you know, it's not that big of an investment to get in. And I think the Major, you know, is a very important factor for U.S. forces. The way that CaptainSPrice is using them right now, not really. So it's fine. He doesn't really need it. But I mean, personally, I use a Major to try and keep a stronger control on the field. So if you lose him, rebuying him for only 160 manpower is pretty much getting him for free, in my opinion. Anyways, paratroopers on the right-hand side with their SMGs just wrecking the Grenadiers. Grenadiers are forced to retreat. We see another howitzer tank getting built. We see the medics back on the ambulance. Ambulance not repaired, but it doesn't really need to. And we see that the Tiger has been called onto the field for Angreifen. So once again, I mean, that Tiger isn't really going to have an easy time right now. There are two pack guns covering the base, and there is a Jackson tank destroyer that can get called in at any time. It's not currently doing anything. It's just sitting there with the crew looking at it. I guess they're having some R&R left, you know, they're getting allowed to stretch their feet and make sure that everything is in order. They're examining the tank, making sure that it's working perfectly when they get called back into action, but they're on leave right now, I guess. Jackson Tank Destroyer moving over to the right-hand side. There is no infantry there to support it. It moves to that side because it knows that the tank or the Tiger is there. But the Pack Guns are now moving themselves in range of the Jackson Tank Destroyer. Shots fly at the Pack Guns. The Pack Guns taking some damage there. We see the Rifle Squad also as well. Jackson Tank Destroyer is pretty much intact. And we see the Pack Guns forced to back off as the Rifle Squad was right in front of them. Minefield was placed right in the center point, so it makes it a little bit more awkward for Sprice to be able to capture that. Paratroopers on the right-hand side pushing away the Grents as well. Gonna go recapture that point, but Angreifen actually doing a very good job at keeping that pressure at victory points. He is constantly capturing the points and not conceding one side of the map, I suppose. Rifles in the center forced to retreat. We do have the Pack Guns now moving up, put themselves in range to be able to keep that Tiger at bay. Grants on the right-hand side, harassing the paratroopers. The paratroopers actually get themselves owned there because they were at max range, and obviously with the Thompson submachine gun, they do not excel at range. Jackson on the right, howitzers behind, and the Pack Guns in front. Not a bad composition. It is very bombable, and Angreifen does have the cluster barrage, or what is it called? The light artillery barrage, and you know, that could actually be activated, so it's something to keep in mind. But anyways, as minefields getting detonated to the shots of the tanks, the rear echelon squad forced to retreat. Shots from the howitzer tanks doing a bit of damage there to those Pios. The Pios move themselves away. Left-hand side, paratrooper squad capturing the munitions point as the Tiger has taken a little bit of a beating. It's down to about half health, and the Jackson Tank Destroyer is moving in its direction to try to engage. It is exposing its rear armor, and the Pack Guns are moving in that direction. It doesn't want to actually move in that direction. Pack Guns take a barrage. They miss. The Jackson Tank Destroyer is alive, and it moves back as it should, and it needs to repair. AT Guns again covering the bridge. Howitzer tanks covering the AT Guns. But Angreifen is doing a supreme job here at recovering the map. As you can see, once again, he has 2 victory points, and the right-hand side point is decapped, which means that Sprice is bleeding 2 points per tick. He calls himself another paratrooper squad on the field, just replacing his troops with paratrooper squads constantly. I mean, yeah, I suppose it is right. I mean, you're not going to build a rifleman again. But, yeah, I mean, he has to do a little bit better at keeping those squads alive. Does have 3... obviously, so I mean, it's not like he's been losing too many of them. But yeah, I mean, he just has to have, or wants to have, more capturing potential. Paratroopers getting a nice, closing the distance very nicely there on that Grunt squad. Forces it away. Second Grunt squad right on top of it. They could potentially throw a grenade, but they force a retreat, and they're going to recapture the point on the right-hand side. Center point. Rear echelon squad with their sweepers managing to cap the point. Howitzer tanks are going to support there. Shots fly. Down to 3 men on that squad. Howitzer tanks just missing completely. They're actually not able to hit anything there. But the Grants are forced to retreat regardless. Left-hand side. Rifle squad with only 2 men left is going to get engaged by the Tiger. They need to retreat. It's going to wipe. Oh, it misses the first shot. It's still alive. Has decapped the point. No, he's going to lose the squad. Yeah, there goes. Unfortunate. Rifle squads are no longer part of this game. Paratroopers on the far left-hand side, they do get equipped with their SMGs as well, and they decap the fuel. The Tiger is moving in that direction. We see the Jackson Tank Destroyer moving in that direction as a Pio squad is chasing down the Tiger. The AT Guns are moving in that direction as well. There should be another squad flanking, but there isn't. Jackson Tank Destroyer gets itself right in front of the Tiger. Feeling a little bit too confident, gets shot in all directions from everything, and it's gonna die. Moves itself out of range, gets shot. Oh, main gun destroyed, it's still alive. Move out of the way. Go, go, run. Get yourself back at home. The other AT guns are still on the field if he can get himself near that. But whoa, that was a very lucky crit there for CaptainSPrice. By all rights, he should have lost his Jackson, but he ended up only losing the weapon, and the Jackson Tank Destroyer makes it out of there alive. Paratroopers now getting equipped with LMGs this time around, so having some firepower at range. The Grants, however, do win the engagement since they have the ability to rifle grenade, so they force it away. We do have a second paratrooper squad on the far right-hand side with SMGs, so if they can close the distance, they're going to get right on top of those squads and rinse them. However, the Grants get the first shot at range with their LMGs. They are, however, in negative cover, so those SMGs are actually going to be able to do a lot of damage. We also see a howitzer tank moving in that direction to support. Shots flying, forcing the retreat of both Grants, and away they go. We see a grenade getting queued up there by those paratroopers, but it doesn't look like they tossed it, although it didn't refresh, so maybe they did. Grand Squad going for the cap of the center victory point. Once again, CaptainSPrice not managing to hold the points. His paratroopers are back at base. The Jackson tank destroyer is getting repaired. The medics are medicing, and the rear echelon squad is just sitting there. We see a Sherman tank. Interesting choice. Excuse me. And I should have had some water. My voice is going. I'm losing my voice. Oh, shit. Anyways, the Sherman getting called onto the field, which is an interesting choice. I mean, it's fine. I mean, there's nothing bad about it, but considering his setup, I mean, you have your howitzer tanks against infantry, which just did an amazing shot right there and eliminated a Grand Squad. So, I mean, I would have probably gone for another Jackson tank destroyer to have 2 on the field that could potentially quickly burst down the Tiger. But he goes for the more multi-purpose Sherman, which is fine. That actually makes also sense because you can utilize the Sherman to harass on the edges like it's doing right now. So on the far right-hand side, it may force what's his name, Angreifen, to react to it and send things to try and kill it, like maybe the AT guns, or maybe the Tiger by itself, or maybe he just moves both of them, you know. But you may provoke him to make a mistake and you know, capitalize on it. So I can see the logic that you can apply to it behind it, and it's fine. It's sound. It makes sense. But you know, I mean, personally, I would have gone, you know, doubled up, because I mean, you could still potentially use the howitzer tanks to do that. Just make sure that you keep it mobile and not keep them in one place for too long, because otherwise, you know, they get killed very quickly. So Jackson tank destroyer in the center takes a shot at the Tiger. Tiger deflects that with its heavy armor in the front. Pack gun adding up to that damage. Tiger taking some damage, and we see a heavy push by the infantry trying to cut off the pack guns from their tank. Paratrooper squad taking massive damage, down to 1 man. Forces a retreat. Can it actually make it out of their life? It looks like it does. We see a light artillery barrage right on top of both infantry squads. Forces a retreat. None of them die, but they do put an end to that assault. But a nice little maneuver there. A small mistake, a window of opportunity for CaptainSPrice, and he almost got himself a Tiger. Only down to about half health, so we're not going to be too dramatic about it. But yeah. However, we see that he could have potentially afforded that because he has a second Tiger on the field, and the Sherman needs to get GTFO, right? But that is kind of what I was referring to, where he may have wanted to go for 2 Jacksons, because right there he only managed to inflict half damage in that little window there where he cut off the AT guns from the Tiger. He could have potentially pushed a little bit more aggressively with the Jacksons, 2 Jacksons, and done a lot of damage and maybe even potentially taken out the Tiger. So it is, you know, something to keep in mind. But again, there's pros and cons to both sides, so you know, which one's wrong, which one's right, I suppose tournaments will dictate. It is something that I am a little bit more excited about. I mean, with stop stuttering like that. With the observer mode, you know, getting announced and potentially being able to get more tournaments going live soon and such. Yeah, a little bit more focus on the esports side of things. It may be interesting to see how top level play plays out, but yeah, whatever. It's wishful thinking, I suppose.
Contact reports show the Krauts are at 200 points.
So CaptainSPrice managing to stabilize a little bit, down to 113 points, has now brought Angreifen to down to less than 200 points, 197 to be exact. Sprice does have 2 Tigers on the field, one of them now fully repaired, covered by 2 pack guns, the other one in the center right now, gonna be covered by the 2 pack guns rather soon. MG42 catching a LMG-equipped paratrooper squad out in the open. The Tiger moves in to punish them. Excuse me. Takes a shot and gets a little bit of a kill there on their members, but the squad is still alive. Pack guns moved into the mix. They're taking some shots at the Tiger. The Tiger taking some nasty shots there on the side. It's down to about 75%. Moves itself past the pack guns, but the tanks hold. Pack guns moving out of the way. They are getting harassed there by Garens. The M82s, not M82s, but M8A1s. I don't know why I said M82s. The M8s not having too much luck there against those Grens. The Grens are just pushing forward, managing to get themselves right in front of them, which is one of the unfortunate consequences. Ooh, nice shot right there. Oh, second nice shot. unfortunate consequences of the changes that were implemented, where these tanks now actually shoot arced projectiles. I mean, it is obviously, you know, what they should do, but before, when it, you know, did an insta shot when it was going to hit something, it actually had a lot more damage outgoing. So anyways, paratrooper does get itself in the way, forces the Grunts to retreat. Then we see more paratroopers and rear echelon squad pushing forward. The pack guns moving into support. We have the pack guns and MGs trying to hold the line, but we do still have those pack guns on the field. One pack gun goes down to the MG as it moved a little bit too further forward. Ladder to leader barrage right on top of the troops, forces the retreat of the infantry and the pack gun itself. Pack gun could potentially be stolen, but there's nothing nearby to steal it. The MG42 is going to back off and cover the approach, and the pack gun is still there, so at the very least CaptainSPrice will hold that and keep it on the field. The howitzer tanks just throwing a barrage at where they think the enemy was. They're not accomplishing too much, but they did force the squads to back off a little bit. Did it die? Yeah. Tiger looks like it may have actually targeted down the pack gun, eliminates it, and reduces the amount of anti-tank capabilities that Sprice have, again, which is why I personally would have gone for another Jackson. But there you go. MG42 forced to retreat from the center, barely makes it out of there alive. Pack gun still holding the center, and Grunts pushing through the center. They do run themselves into the line of sight, or, yeah, I mean, of paratroopers and rear echelon squad. When rear echelon squad pushes too aggressively forward, gets itself killed. Paratroopers trying to hold the line. The AT guns push forward, getting some shots off on the howitzer tanks. The howitzer tanks managing to dodge every single shot, and the paratroopers are right on top of these AT guns. The paratrooper squad down to one man by a nasty shot there by the Tiger, forced to retreat. Howitzer tanks getting some shots off on the Grunts. The Grunts again forced to retreat, and the paratrooper on the right hand side takes a nasty shot to the Tiger and is forced to retreat. Jackson Tank Destroyer, Veteran C1, it can use the armor-piercing rounds, which could also be critical here to take down those Tigers. At Veteran C2, it improves sighting and weapon accuracy and rate of fire, so yeah, makes it a lot more deadlier. And there goes the shots, and the Tiger backs off at about 75% strength. Right-hand side, Sherman is holding the point, so at the very least, with what CaptainSPrice is doing, he is holding down or locking down one point a little bit more aggressively and more reliably. Oh, interesting. Pathfinder's getting called onto the field. It's an interesting choice, and it is a sneaky one at that, because look at that. They are cloaked. If you put them in cover, they cloak, they can hold fire and not expose themselves. And they will give line of sight to the Jackson Tank Destroyer. The paratroopers or the Pathfinders do manage to decap the center point, to get brought down to one man as they take a lot of damage, but he cloaks again. And he allows that. Oh my god, the Jackson Tank Destroyer almost gets the kill. He does activate his armor-piercing rounds, but does not manage to finish him off. He sees another tank. He sees the Tiger. Oh, nice shot at the Tiger. And the Jackson gets himself a kill. Nice little medal. No, don't do that. There you go. Oh, well. So, a little bit too over-eager there. He moves his Pathfinder into the point. Gets it killed. Should have just retreated or kept it there to spot. And then maybe go forward. Jackson keeps itself in range of the pack gun. However, it's taking a lot of damage. Second shot goes down. The third one goes off. Crew shock on the Jackson, and the AT gun misses. Jackson needs to get the foe. There it goes. That is an unfortunate loss. Yeah, you cannot keep the Jackson that close to the base with that, but well, there you go. Sherman on the right-hand side does force away the Grunt squad a little bit. It is still capturing the point. And paratrooper squad on the right-hand side down to one man, forced to retreat. Pretty much have nothing left but paratroopers on the field for Sprice. He does send one straight into the center, capturing. Yeah. To capture the victory point, I mean, he knows obviously that he cannot afford to just simply let the points bleed. He is down to 61 points, and he needs to have control of those victory points. His enemy is also down to 180. Now goes, ooh, nasty shot there by the gunner on the Tiger. Eliminates one of the planes from the strafing barrage. and it crashes, so it reduces the remaining barrages by half, essentially.
Taking enemy fire! Rounds complete. Fire.
And on the left-hand side, an MG42 is forced to retreat by the howitzer tanks. Another Jackson getting produced for CaptainSPrice. I mean, he does have the fuel for it. He doesn't really care too much about that. Can actually call himself another tank on top of that because he's lost so much infantry, so population cap isn't really much of a problem. Issue is really in the side of manpower. He is down to very low amounts of manpower, while PanzerGrenadierAngreifen does have a lot of manpower, but he probably wants to call himself another Tiger onto the field, which is probably what he's holding for. Another crash of a plane. Crashes right there where nothing was, so no real consequence. But at the very least, CaptainSPrice has managed to capture the point in the center, so he is currently putting the bleed on Angreifen. Far left-hand side, we see a paratrooper squad going for the victory point. There's nothing there to oppose him. We do see an MG42 moving in that direction. We also have the howitzer tanks nearby. They are a little bit too exposed. They're a little bit too forward, although there are paratroopers nearby to spot for them, so I suppose they're fine. But we do have those pack guns back here that could move up at any point and do some damage. Tiger getting called onto the field for Angreifen, so he once again recovers the halving of 2 tanks. Point on the left does get decapped by CaptainSPrice. Angreifen managing to suppress them, but that is about it. He does end up losing his MG weapon, and the weapon itself got destroyed as it had taken too much punishment during the engagement. And that is an unfortunate lack of habit, or a bad habit that players, have, or a habit that players don't have, that you don't see anybody repairing their weapon teams very often. So, when you could have just spent a couple seconds doing that, the weapon just ends up dying, and it doesn't take too much to do it. So, if you can remember to do that, try and keep that in mind. It'll help you out quite a bit. Jackson gonna move itself right in front of the Tiger, which is not the best idea. It doesn't actually know it's there. It is blocked from the line of sight from right there. Now it's gonna spot it. There it is, and it gets shot in the face. Howitzer tanks on the right-hand side getting shot by the pack guns across the river. One howitzer tank will go down. Oh no, it makes it out of there alive. It lost its weapon, but it's still alive. The other howitzer tank is still on the field. The Jackson tank destroyer did end up getting killed as it ran in front of a Tiger. I mean, I don't think you're supposed to do that. There's still a pack gun on the field for CaptainSPrice, so he's trying to use that to hold him at bay. Howitzer tank trying to get some shots off on those Grens, but it's not having too much luck, as if the Grens just continue to push forward and get on top of it, they're not really going to get hit, because the shots, since they're arc, they take a while to get there. So, Howitzer tank getting repaired. Paratroopers pushing into the center. Tiger backs off from the left-hand side. It could have actually gone a little bit more aggressively and pushed into the base, but it is a big risk, and obviously Angreifen does not know what his opponent currently has. The Sherman still on the right-hand side, not doing too much, just holding the territory, making sure that that victory point does not get lost, so that if bleed of points happens, it only happens to 1 point at a time. Paratroopers in the center not having too much luck there. The Grens actually end up in the more favorable position there, and they were supported by a Tiger, so they end up having to retreat. Second paratrooper squad is on the field. A nasty shot there lands right on top of the Grens, eliminating the Gren squad in the center, and the center point is currently decapped. Pack gun still holding the line. Howitzer tank at range, and the pack gun also makes it out there. Paratrooper squad moves up, can throw a grenade, does throw a grenade, but the pack gun moves out of the way, and the paratroopers end up retreating, as unfortunately they just take so much damage. Another Jackson tank destroyer on the field for CaptainSPrice. Again, he has enough fuel for another one if he wanted to, but I think manpower is his biggest concern in that situation. And the howitzer tanks now back in action. Dual howitzer tanks throwing a barrage into the center. Oh, they actually get a nice shot there on one of the pack guns. Pack gun goes down. Second pack gun moves itself into position to cover, and the Gren squad is there. Paratrooper squad pushes forward, takes a lot of damage there to the Grens as they approach. They are down to 2 men. They need to retreat or they're going to die. Tiger takes a shot. Does it take him out? No, misses. Paratroopers hold themselves in the point. No, they're actually outside of the point. They need to retreat. Down they go. Down to 1 man. Shot flies and eliminates the squad too late on the retreat there for Mr. Sprice. So he loses another paratrooper squad, reducing his capping capabilities quite significantly. The pack gun did also get eliminated, but it's there, so it can get recovered. Calling in a rear echelon squad wouldn't be a bad idea there for Captain Sprice to be able to recover weapons and even help out with the capping at the edges, maybe. Paratrooper squad heads straight into the center victory point. Tiger's just going to punish them for doing so. The second Tiger moving over on the left-hand side, going to come in to provide even more firepower and make sure that that paratrooper squad cannot get the kill. Jackson Tank Destroyer at range gets a shot off on the Tiger. The Tiger down to about 75% strength. The second shot flies and nails it, but stays alive. And the Jackson Tank Destroyer backs off. Paratroopers utilize to capture the pack gun. The pack gun is now back in service. Paratroopers going to have to retreat and reinforce. The ambulance is... it actually is using its healing ability, so I suppose it's fine. Oh, actually, it's not. This was the paratrooper squad. So these guys could actually just move it a little bit further down to repair on the field. Maybe put it somewhere around here or here, and get these guys reinforced and healed up when not in combat. But I don't know. So Angreifen putting himself in quite a nice position in this engagement. I mean, yes, he does have to worry about those howitzer tanks, which are just annoying for him. 28 kills on one and 15 on the other, but he has inflicted a lot of damage. Raid, stop it. Stop it. There you go. They have inflicted a lot, but they're not too much of a threat because there's still 2 Tigers on the field. Tiger moving across the river on the left-hand side. Tiger holding the center. Paratrooper squad just getting manhandled there by the Tiger. Pioneer squad trying to hold the point as it gets decapped by the paratrooper squad. Second paratrooper squad brought into the mix with their LMGs. Oh my god, they take a nasty shot and are forced to retreat. The Tiger may actually eliminate the squad. Shot flies, and down goes another paratrooper squad. LMG is left on the field, but geez, that those Tigers are just bastards. They do so much damage against infantry. 36 kills to this name on this Tiger and 21 to the other. Keep in mind that a Tiger has already died, so God knows how many infantry kills that other guy had. Jeez. Sherman on the right, still not doing too much. I mean, we can also see that Angreifen has lost pretty much all his combat infantry. He has a Grand Squad on the field who's currently pushing forward, and that is about it. He has a pilot squad and is building a second one to have more infantry on the field. And obviously more potential to repair. And the MG, which is just holding the point on the left-hand side. So he also doesn't have much ability to just continue putting pressure. But he doesn't need to do much because the pressure that he's putting is in the way of victory points. We see that Sprice is down to 30 points, less than 30, 29 now. So, yeah, he's running out of time, and he has to figure out how to deal with the Tigers. And finally now, in the 52nd minute, he decides that he wants to build a second Jackson Tank Destroyer to accompany his original one. And for some reason, again, it stutters. Damn it, yeah. Again, like I said, sorry about that. It's gonna be the last one for this week, and I'll probably do that tomorrow and make sure that everything is updated, everything's downloaded. I gotta back up my files and all that thing. So it takes a little bit, but it shouldn't be too big of a deal. Pretty sure we have everything we need. Paratroopers in the center. Again, not having too easy of a time there. Forced to retreat, and I mean that's the thing. Those Tigers are just not gonna let him cap. Nothing that he sends there to cap is gonna be able to do so because there's 2 Tigers just covering the zone. So he needs to be able to take down the Tigers, which is why I was saying before that Jackson's on the field would have been great. He's repairing the other Jackson. He pushes his Sherman across the field. I mean, again, that is another thing he could do, but he is using the Sherman to hold the point. But, I mean, you can see right here that this entire flank is open. You could send the Sherman into the base to harass. Force a reaction from the Tigers and something like that. But as long as the Tigers are just holding the center point, he's not going to be able to push forward. So, Pack Gun moves itself into the center, trying to be the one to cap, ends up getting itself eliminated by the Grand Squad. And we see that the Tiger on the right did take some damage. We see the Sherman and the Jackson pushing forward. The other Jackson not in good spot. It actually loses its weapon. But we see the flank going here because he's desperate. He's down to 10 points, down to 9 points now. Does end up taking down one of the Tigers. He's going for the second one. We see the AT gun, the pack gun, getting cleared out in the center, and the other Tiger is moving itself to the edge of the map. So this is exactly what he needed. Paratroopers pushing to the center. We see a light artillery barrage getting called in. Probably going to get called in right on top of the point. Yeah, there it goes. The Pio squad is going to get eliminated there to those paratrooper squads. The light artillery barrage, the paratroopers are holding strong. And we see yet another Tiger getting called onto the field. There's 2 Tigers on the field. The Sherman gets crew shocked, and the Jackson tank destroyer is trying to move itself out of the way. The Sherman, with its standard shots, getting damage on the rear armor. Rear armor of the Jackson tank destroyer also getting hit. We have the other tank getting repaired right now, but it's still not in working order. The Tigers are pushing forward. The center point is getting capped down to 2 points. Oh my god, down to 2 points for CaptainSPrice. He barely holds the game. And the P-47 rocket strafe getting called in, doing a lot of damage. This is it. I mean, this is the battle of the game. Jackson tank destroyer is pushing forward. Down goes one of the Tigers. The second Tiger is Veteran C2. Hits Blitzkrieg to get itself right on top of the Jackson. The other Jackson is there to support it. It's still at about half strength, but the gun works perfectly, and the shots continue to fly. The Tiger is going to be going down, and it looks like at the 11th hour, Mr. Angreifen is going to be losing the game. GG throws Angreifen. He lost all his troops, and that is going to be all she wrote. There it is. Even synced out because it was so awesome. That was very nice. Down to the wire for CaptainSPrice. Barely held it with 2 points. But yeah, I mean, that's what I was saying earlier on. He needed those 2 Jacksons. When he got those 2 Jacksons, he was able to do those pushes. Yes, he ended up losing them in the engagement and such, but I mean, that's what you do. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the game. If you have any positive or negative remarks, go ahead and leave them in the comment section below. If you have any replays you want to send me, go ahead and send them to the email that I will put in the description. But otherwise, I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.